Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I have another golf ball review for you today, and today we are reviewing definitely a newcomer to the game for sure. Hasn't been a golf ball company for very long, and which is, if you've seen my channel before, I love direct-to-consumer companies. Today is the Union Green Teebird golf ball. Let's dive in. All right, so Union Green is definitely a newcomer to the channel. I had not really heard of this brand before, but I started getting some Facebook advertisements when you're scrolling. When you look up golf balls all the time, that's what the algorithm kind of tailors it towards you. And I started to see some of these for a while now, so I'd wanted to try them. They looked interesting. They kind of have a unique selling point and marketing idea. They're basically saying, hey, we're united by the game, not by membership. So it's kind of more of a loosey-goosey, have fun, shirt untucked, guys, drinking a Coors Light in one hand, swinging with the other, just a casual golfer, having fun, having a good time. Nothing wrong with that. Good idea, but again, the idea is that, hey, these golf balls aren't going to cost you a ton. Obviously you're not, a rich man with a membership. You're just a guy out on the weekend trying to have a good time, and you don't want to spend a lot on golf balls, which is kind of the idea of most direct-to-consumer golf balls. That's kind of how they work, but hey, I like it. It's cool. It's unique. It's fun. So no judgment there. So they have two golf balls. The first one is the Teebird, which we're reviewing now. They also have the Pin Drop. The Teebird is their two-piece model distance golf ball, and then the Pin Drop is more their three-piece. Reminds me kind of like a Top Flight gamer ball, the entry-level three-piece, has a little more spin, checkup, things like that. And that one will be coming at a later time. I'll have that one probably as the next review. Don't hold me to it, but it'll be a later review for sure because it has been tested. But let's go ahead and dive into this Union Green Teebird. These golf balls come at a price point of $19.99 a dozen, which is really good for a dozen golf ball. That's right in the sweet spot. The only problem is it does come with $5 shipping and handling unless you spend $75 or more, which means you'd have to buy 4 dozen to get the free shipping. So you're looking at basically 25 bucks a dozen, which at that point for a two-piece golf ball isn't really a direct-to-consumer price. I mean, that's as much as Callaway Super Soft when you go to the store. The Cut Red is, I think, $12.99 at Walmart, or I think it's actually now $25 for 2 dozen. The Wilson Zip, there's a lot of golf balls that you can just go to your local store and pick up for a cheaper price than $25 a dozen. So that's a little disappointing from the rip, but let's dive into the design of the golf ball. Let's see, maybe this golf ball's performance will make it worth that $25 a dozen. Let's see. Getting into the design, as you can see, I do like the logo. Some people do, some people don't, but I like this logo. It has a unique dimple pattern. It kind of reminds me of that Bridgestone E12 look, which I did not like the performance, but I did like the dimple pattern on that. It's just different, it's unique. You can tell it's kind of a cheap plastic cover, but that's going to hold up a little bit better. It's not the worst I've ever seen. Overall, it's not a bad design at all. Come on the side here. Now, there is no alignment tool, and people who watch my channel know that would normally bother me, but I am going to give it a pass for a couple reasons. One, because everything's symmetrical. If you look at this picture here, the letters are perfectly symmetrical. So even though it's not a great alignment tool, you can kind of stick, I'm going to try to show it here, but you can essentially stick it there and you can see it really well. You can see it bold. I wish it was a little longer. But hey, it ain't perfect. It's average. It's not bad. I'll give them the pass for now, but I do think there's some room for improvement there. And then let's just talk about the name anyway. Teebird, if you look at the design as far as the packaging, got the eagle on there. It looks really amazing. And personally, I'm a sucker for Leonard Skinner. So when I saw Teebird, playing on Freebird, like it's just, I mean, that really hit home for me. So it was already just like a match made in heaven. So I really kind of hope this golf ball works out, to be honest with you. I was really excited when I opened the package. All right, so let's get out to the chipping and putting green. Let's see how it does around the green. All right, so for being a firmer two-piece golf ball, I have to say that I was really impressed with the Teebird. It actually has a pretty soft, squishy feel to it around the green. First of all, when you're chipping with it, it actually bounces pretty high in the air. You get a good amount of height to it. Nothing crazy, but definitely higher than my average for sure. And essentially, it actually does have, like I said, that bouncy ball effect. It feels nice and squishy. You don't have to swing the club very hard, and you just get a lot of bounce to the ounce for it. Now, as far as the spin goes, I was pleasantly surprised. Usually with these two-piece golf balls, I expect them just to kind of hit and have a firm release and head right where they're going. A lot of forgiveness in there. This golf ball kept that forgiveness. However, it actually is one of the most spinningest golf balls, two-piece-wise, that I've ever tested. I was surprised. There was a couple times I kind of got it jumping on the green like a bass a little bit, which with a two-piece golf ball is just kind of unheard of. I don't usually have that happen. Now, it's not crazy or anything. It's not the same you're going to get with, a three-piece, four-piece, a tour ball, anything like that. But as far as that range of two-piece golf balls go, it's definitely toward the higher end, so I was excited to see that. And again, really impressed with the putter there. The putter actually has a very soft feel. There is a slight little bit of a press and click, you'll hear it, but it's very muted, it's very soft, it's not very apparent. It actually is kind of the feel and sound I'm looking for. It kind of keeps that traditional golf ball feel, but it kind of just tones the levels down a little bit to where it's not so obnoxious and so loud. So it was a really good blend there. Overall, around the green, I was decently impressed. I mean, $19.99 for a tour ball, really decent performance around the green, surprised me in a couple aspects. I just hope it continues that into the real full swing clubs. All right, so getting into the full swing clubs, as far as the feel of the golf ball, it felt a little firm. And again, a couple golf balls I've been testing lately have had this feel, but it doesn't feel necessarily really that dead, especially as much as the Volvic did, but it does feel a little dead, and it feels really, really firm, like almost like the compression would be for a very fast swinger. And my first thought was, yeah, you know, it kind of reminds me of Titleist golf balls on my channel, because Titleist golf balls traditionally test that way here. But then I actually did some research, and I found out that Union Green actually is a parent company of Titleist, and that's where this golf ball is produced, in Titleist plants. I'm not exactly sure which one, but I know that it is a Titleist company, and that's where they come from. So it kind of makes sense, because that is how the golf ball feels. It feels that way. My main concern is that that's going to hinder the performance. I swing average. I review golf balls based on an average to high swing speed, 92, 93 mile an hour. You know, I can guesstimate up to 100, but if a golf ball is meant for a 115 mile an hour swinger, it's almost impossible to guess whether that golf ball would be good or not. So my fear is that this might be for the more faster swinging crowd, but let's find out. Let's get into these numbers. Okay, so starting off with the 9-iron, mile per hour, 86.5, and you know, that doesn't surprise me. Again, it felt really, really firm, and so on short wedges, I usually always lose a little bit. That's losing quite a bit though. That's about 5 miles an hour with my swing. 118.9, I lost about 7 mile per hour, 8 mile per hour. 110.5, I lost about 8.5 mile an hour, or I'm sorry, excuse me, distance. I apologize, yards, obviously. Sorry, brain fart. My launch angle was 24, which is high, which nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I mean, that happens. That's pretty standard. Anytime you get a firm golf ball on the channel, and I've tested a lot of them, trust me, almost always the short irons suffer. The wedges, the 9-iron, 8-iron a little bit, but the 9-iron especially, it just doesn't compress as well, and I could tell right off the bat I wasn't really compressing this golf ball. It almost felt like a baseball, really. It felt like I wasn't compressing it at all, and it was more like just hitting the club stiff and coming off stiff, and so it doesn't surprise me to see that. It is disappointing that it's so low though. Let's get into the 7-iron now though. 58.08 on the spin. That is very, very, very low. Anything below 6 is very low. I prefer to have a little more than that so I can stick a green. 102.3 is really, really low. It's abysmal. I lost 4.5 mile an hour with this golf ball with the 7. 154.7 with the distance. So lost about 6 yards, 141.6 with the carry, and I lost about 7 yards, more than my average. And then it actually launched at 16.7, which is very, 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 very low. Very low. So, you know, and I honestly, looking real quick, the only other golf ball I've had test that low was the Titleist Velocity, which tested really well, but the only knock I really had against it was it launched so low that I lost distance. If it had gone a little higher, I'd have gained distance. So kind of the same knock here, you know. I didn't exactly get what I wanted out of the golf ball, so a little disappointing there. Now, with this being a firmer golf ball, usually when you get into the 5 hybrid and the driver, that's its time to shine because it's compressing a little bit better. You know, anytime you get a hybrid, which is a wood opposed to, you know, an iron, you have a chance to compress a little better, so maybe it'll shine there. Getting into the 5 hybrid, we're looking at 43.73 on the spin, which is slightly above average. That's awesome, really good. 117.6, which is average. 194.4, which is about 2 yards more than my average, really good there. 180.4. That's about 3 yards more than my average, and now it's launching 16.3, which is not low. That's actually very, very, very high. So I don't like the inconsistency there, but I do like the numbers a lot better. It's good to see that it was finally compressing, getting a little bit better. Hopefully with the driver we can continue that and maybe gain some distance on the driver, and at that point we'll know it's probably just for faster swingers. Let's get into the driver. It spun 28.23, which is just slightly above average, no big deal there. 244.6, which actually, yeah, I gained a couple yards there. 134.3, that's my average, not bad. 223.9, gained a yard and a half, nice. And 15.9, it launched very, very high. So interesting there, with the last two clubs, it was compressing a lot better, and once I actually started compressing it, it actually launched high. So that leads me to believe I think this is a high launching golf ball, but because I couldn't compress it with the 9-iron or the 7-iron efficiently, I think that those numbers might be a little wonky. So I think it is a high launching golf ball overall. The last two clubs have been very good, and it's good to see that it finally averaged out. Okay, so real quick, before I give you the closing thoughts, let's get into the durability. It actually held up really well. I expected it to. I don't know exactly what it's made out of. I don't know if it's iometer. I don't know if it's a Durlin-Surlin blend. I'm not sure. It doesn't tell me on the website, so I wish it did. Unfortunately, the website doesn't give me much other than it goes really far and really straight. So, but obviously it is a plastic of some sort. I just don't know which one. Those usually hold up better as far as durability. They just don't grip the green as much. And I mean, as you can see there, I mean, it looks pretty good. There's a couple scuff marks there and everything, but as far as feeling the golf ball, it feels really good. I think it performs really wise on the durability factor. And honestly, I think that it's going to get you through a full 18, and as long as you don't lose it, it might even be another half round after that. So overall, I can't really complain about the durability, especially for the price. All right, so closing thoughts. You know, I tested the Volvic XT Soft a while back, and it was the first golf ball in a really long time that just was abysmal through every club. Every club was awful. I was losing, you know, it was a bad golf ball. It just didn't test well. There are some things to build on with this golf ball for sure. The performance wasn't as great as I was hoping it would be. However, there was some things to build on, such as the greenside performance I thought was really good. It's definitely one of the best two-piece golf balls I've ever tested when it comes to spin on the green. I couldn't believe how well it gripped a green for being a two-piece. It does have that nice, firmer, traditional feel. I like that. I like how it feels with the wedge around the green. I like how it feels with the putter around the green, whether you're using blade, mallet, both feel really good. It feels like that's really done well as far as around the green. Once you get to the full swing clubs, I think that that's where it kind of gets iffy. The short irons and mid irons for sure with my swing speed just were not compressing that well. It didn't feel like I was compressing it. Definitely a firmer feel, which a lot of people won't like, but some people might. But once I got into the 5 hybrid and the driver, it started compressing a little bit better, which leads me to believe that I think this golf ball is going to be for 100-mile-an-hour swingers or faster. You know, maybe 102, 103, 105, somewhere in that range for sure to fully get the full benefits out of it. And unfortunately, that's just going to take a lot of people out of the running. Most people swing under 100 mile an hour. So I do feel there's kind of a niche market there. I wish it was a little softer so that way it was tailored more toward a more variety-wide audience opposed to just a really niche, fast-swinging, high-handicap audience. But that's kind of like where I feel it's at. I think that the design is cool. It does feel young. It kind of has that Vice vibe where it's young, it's different. You know, Teebird, awesome name, awesome design. You know, it all comes in this really cool art packaging, yada, yada, yada. But as far as the performance of the golf ball, which is what matters most, I just feel like it's for really, really fast swingers. So I would stay away. And also the other problem is that $25 is a little high. Yes, I know it's only $19.99, but if it was actually just purely $19.99 including shipping, I think that that would actually be a pretty decent value, especially if you're someone who does swing faster. I have a buddy who swings about 100, and he might be a great test and great fit for this golf ball. But once you add the shipping in there at $5 and it becomes $25 a dozen, that's about as expensive as a two-piece golf ball gets, other than your weird ones like Titleist or whatever. But 25 is, you know, your Callaway Soft, your Callaway Max, you know, I mean, there's so many golf balls under that are just amazing that it would be really difficult for me to recommend this to the average crowd. Guys, as always, keep watching, keep saving, and keep learning. Until next time, thank you as always.